We finished with time to spare, and I decided to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria, as frankly, the food so far has been subpar. This sends Shizune and Misha arguing amongst themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. And what about the bill? Are they arguing just for the fun of it? Maybe. They seem so distracted by it that they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. I look over my shoulder towards the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an odd sight. Everyone else in the class is busying themselves with the lunch break. Socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks. The one with actual bunch locks is mixed in and chattering like everyone else, only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels like I'm the only one who can see her. Almost as if she's invisible, sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think of it, she hasn't turned a page since I've started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. What to do? I do what I always do when I don't know what to do. Like now. I've already started on one of the books I borrowed yesterday, and took it with me to school to fill the empty moments between classes. I find the page that I creased the corner of to mark the spot I left yesterday night, and pick up from there. Misha and Suzune are still arguing heatedly, probably about restaurants still. If I joined them, I'd just get caught up in that, or worse, get grilled about joining the student council. Misha isn't speaking aloud, since there's nobody who'd need to hear what they are talking about. But why does she tend to sign things even when Shizune doesn't need to understand what's being said, or even more strangely, when Shizune is not around at all? What an odd conflict of habits. I find it hard to focus on the book. And besides, the lunch break beckons me to leave the dullness of the classroom. I do so, heading down for the cafeteria. Misha and Suzune, having come to a conclusion of one kind or another, follow in my wake, though still talking in their animated fashion. Just around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Ouch! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and has now fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during the lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have any legs. Or she does, but they're not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs end in shins, and feet made of some black metallic or plastic-like material. It looked disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. The girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up.
Man. Hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really! I wasn't looking where I was going and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry.
She's looking really apologetic, in the hurt puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything, since hurt puppies are my weak spot. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Ouch. I say that, but there's a stinging pain growing in my chest, and I know that this is about the biggest possible danger from my condition. Don't overexert yourself. Don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. I try to rub my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. It seems normal.
Hey, should I get a nurse?
The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stare at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realized that I probably looked worse off than I really was, doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need. I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time and take a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me. Big time. But it's nothing more than that.
You sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard.
It's okay. I said I was fine. Nothing's broken. No harm done.
That's good.
I feel a hand on my shoulder at the same time the girl's eyes widen in horror. I don't have time to look behind me because Shizune is already shoving me aside and stomping over to the girl, signing furiously at her.
Miss Ibarazaki, I saw that! Running in the halls is strictly forbidden!
Misha translates, right on Shizune's tail, but her voice is gristly, playful, not full of the divine fury Shizune's arm movements would seem to call for.
Sorry. I was just going to get some stuff and I was kind of in a hurry.
You've been told this 1,000 times before! Your reckless behavior endangers other students, and even worse, it's explicitly against the school regulations!
The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously, like a little child caught misbehaving. And so cute, I find myself smiling.
I know that. I was just...
Make sure that this will not happen again! Although I'm sure telling you this is futile and only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Got that, Emmy?
The small girl sticks her tongue out in response.
Ah! I gotta go. Teacher will have my head. I promised to help with printouts, but I went running instead. Sorry, but I gotta change and everything.
Before Misha or Shizune could say anything, she already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smile at her in vain attempt to calm her down.
Are you okay, Hichan? That Ibarazaki girl's always like that, causing trouble to others.
You know, I'm pretty certain Shizune wouldn't call me Hichan.
Never mind.
Yeah, anyway. I'm okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me.
That's great, Hichan!
I wouldn't call that great, but I let it slide this one time.
We have to run now. There's an important student council meeting regarding the festival. And we finally decided where to eat! Too bad you can't join, but this lunch meeting is only for council members. We can take you there some other time. Oh, but that'd be like a date, wouldn't it?
The girls leave for downstairs. I didn't manage to get that far into the third floor hallway before all this commotion struck. Literally. I should get going as well. The lunch and the afternoon class pass uneventfully. I read most of my book I had started yesterday, and eat some of the mostly inedible offerings of the cafeteria. The class is tiresome. The teacher seems like an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here, filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Mutou is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow.
What is it, Nakai?
I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there's nobody else around. Nothing. Thinking about what I'd do after school. The teacher slowly puts the cap on his pen he is holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routined.
You have no plans?
No, I considered joining a club, but I don't know what kind of club would interest me.
Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest.
I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. Mutou looks at me in the same way that makes me quickly want to get the words back to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about the disabilities. It's like It feels like I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive.
These things are only an issue if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone, even if they are blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance.
He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness, when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako. It's not like you can ignore her face. But... I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open.
Teacher!
Misha crushes in, hand straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Mutou, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slumps in his chair.
Mikado?
Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly, as if she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what.
Yes?
We have talked about volume control before.
Yes!
But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes.
So what is it?
We need help! We're running out of supplies for the festival stands! This is a distress!
She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around.
So go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that?
Plywood! Plywood is always the problem! Last time we wanted more, there was only a little, but that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left there, so do you know where there is some?
I don't understand. How would I know?
Shi-chan, I mean, the president, thought that a teacher would know if there is plywood. Was she wrong?
Mutou looks like he is in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time.
I'm afraid I have no idea if there's any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any.
Oh, what should I do?
Perhaps try to find Mr. Namiya? I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a different matter.
I don't have time, we're so busy!
She holds her head with both of her hands, looking as despairing as possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumbles up the note she's holding against her hair.
I shouldn't even be fetching these things! There's so much to do and we're falling behind the schedule!
Mutou looks at her gravely, and then suddenly smiles. Smiling really doesn't fit his face. I think it'd be better if he didn't.
I wonder if you could get some temporary help.
He switches to staring at me focusedly, with a hard expression, as if trying to say, go make some friends. Nah, I guess I can give you a hand.
You can? Thanks, Hee-chan, you're really nice!
She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her finger, yelling, "Ah!" and looking very puzzled.
Come to think of it, what's Hee-chan doing here? Class is over, you should be having fun!
We just had a little chat.
Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Hee-chan?
No, I'm not.
Is Hee-chan in trouble, teacher?
No, he's not.
Mutou sighs deeply, and I feel that I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. So what do you need?
Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room.
She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you. This has no implications on whether I'm joining the council or not.
Aw, darn you, Hee-chan. Still, thanks, Hee-chan. Try to be quick, we are in a stall building streak now. We must hurry!
She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a slight agreement.
Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now.
Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Chizune's, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classrooms closest to ours are designated, belonging to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each having doors looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor still, with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classrooms. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight with the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desk. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. "Anybody home?" Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me back even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I somehow still took her as part of the furnishing, or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today, as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open. Suddenly remember I didn't finish my sentence, and trying to think of what I should do. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically.
Hello.
The girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth, and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here, for some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would be any someone in here.
There isn't. That's why I came here too.
She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows, as if she was suspecting my observation was false.
You're pretty observant. I guess it does, but who are you?
This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai. Hisao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday.
I'm Rin. Tetsuka Rin. Rin Tetsuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice.
Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food.
Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back.
Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day.
What word would you use then? There is no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say.
I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with.
But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious.
With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me.
So, Nakai, what brings you to this place?
Like I said, I was told to look for these things.
No, the school. From outside you look fine. Is your problem inside?
I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out.
I can guess. I am good at guessing. Better than most people.
Let's start project.